Hello and welcome. Welcome to the second day of us here on Adobe Live. I'm Evan Abrams. Thank you for coming out. Today we're going to talk about animating things in After Effects with Cadieux from The Atlantic. The amazing Cadieux is here to show you how she makes some of the magical things that she makes in a surprisingly short amount of time, we'll say. We were talking about this yesterday, but some of your pieces, you have 8 days to make them happen.
That was a one-time affair, I hope.
Well, you know, let's not tell your bosses that you can knock things out in 8 days. They're not watching this right now. That's totally fine.
We don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But you're all watching. Thank you all for coming out. We're going to be with you here from 11 until 1, and it's going to be great. And today, we have a challenge for you. So if you check out the challenge tab on Behance Live, then you'll be challenged to animate something in After Effects, which is the thing we're doing. And we'll be animating a basketball into a basketball hoop. If you make that happen, do it however you like. Use position, rotation, make it bounce around. We've had a lot of very creative entries, and if you do that, you meet our challenge. We'll review them at the end of this thing, and the winner of that will get a year of Creative Cloud. So, you know, make that half-court shot, and it'll be good. And also, there's a random giveaway, so stay active in the chat, and there'll be a random giveaway in about half an hour for these very amazing these enamel pins. Pins are so hot right now. And
I'm into it.
Yeah, we got the After Effects pin.
You gotta keep an eye on that one so it doesn't.
We got the audition pin. I'm gonna keep them away from your
my sticky fingers.
Your sticky fingers, and we'll give them away. But yeah, keep active in the chat. If you're here in the chat with us on Behance, then let us know who you are, where you're from, what do you do with After Effects. If you have any questions, ask Caitlin. She's an expert, and we'll try to get you through. If you're watching us on YouTube, because this is also streamed on YouTube, we can't see what you're saying. So come on over to Behance, log into Behance, get into the chat, and that's what's going up. So without further ado, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, hanging in there.
Yeah. So today, I guess there's a couple things we want to talk about. And one is going all in. You can see from my exciting screen. I want to kind of just get into the whole process of it, of everything really, from top to bottom.
Maybe as a teaser, we can show them, you know, one of the projects we're going to dive into.
Yeah, let me pull up the actual. Well, I crack open the project file. I don't know what the audio situation is on here, but I'm gonna. Because
we're gonna look at some beautiful things. We're gonna talk about how you make the beautiful things. And then, once we've shown you the inside of the hot dogs, we're going to make one for you.
We're going to eat a hot dog live on air.
You can play audio through your speakers. We'll pick it up.
Okay, if they...
Yeah.
We're working on it. It's happening.
It'll come out of the speakers and into the microphones. And it'll be very good.
If I can't... I've had some issues opening files with a Dropbox getting weird. Can we, like...
Oh, yeah. You can
connect
just check it out.
To the internet?
Go-to mesh network.
So yeah, so this will be what we're going to look at is a piece that you made for The Atlantic.
I enjoy soup.
Lowercase.
All lowercase, one word. I enjoy soup.
Yeah.
You guys got that Wi-Fi password out there? You want to get up on this?
The local
Wi-Fi.
But so yeah, we're going to have a peruse of some of your excellent work.
So yeah, I couldn't get the file to play off my computer. Hopefully we're good. Otherwise, yeah, we got that. Yes, I'm live on the internet in more ways than one. So I'm gonna pull open. By the way, this is the Atlantic YouTube's channel. The YouTube's channel, if you want to. Oh, we're gonna have to watch an ad. Sorry, guys. I'll skip it.
But while we do, yeah.
So yeah, I think I'll just let it play without audio.
Okay.
No worries. If you guys want to hear about how Russia attacked the U.S. elections, check it out on our YouTube page. So I'm just going to show you kind of the ins and outs of what went into this video. This was the infamous video that I storyboarded, designed, and animated in 8 days. And it was a race to the finish. In editorial animation, we have really fast turnaround times. I mean, I think that goes for everybody. Like, I don't hear a lot of people in motion graphics that are like, we had so much time and it was
such a relaxed lifestyle.
Yeah,
you know?
like work-life balance. What even is work? You know?
I don't even know. I just have so much free time. But yeah, I think that's universal, whether you're
for sure
in-house at the Atlantic, whether you're working for clients. everyone has the time crunch. You know, it's time is the only resource that we all have less of every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Anyway.
And on that positive
not
note,
to be a bummer.
I will say too, one of the things about motion graphics is like a secret to it in a way is learning how to do things fast and like what corners you can cut to keep it looking good and still get it out on time.
A lot of things look very complex here, you know.
It was very thrilling.
And like every frame is very beautifully composed.
Thank you.
Everything's very balanced.
Thank you so much.
Great color balance, great variety of shapes. It's terrific. Like you could pause any of these and it's good. You know?
This one's not good.
That's horrifying.
Don't get fished.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. Should I let this play all the way through, or should we just?
No, I think people get the idea of the incredible levels of
scrolling.
complexity.
Two-factor authentication on our email.
Yeah, so this is a wonderful thing, and you'd think, oh, it just springs out of your mind, fully formed, right? but maybe take us behind the curtain and tell us the process. Tell how you go from nothing into a thing.
I'm gonna part the kimono a little bit and take you backstage. So first I want to show you, we have had, generally we have more time in the process, and well, the reason I want to say that we had 8 days was this was going out with a cover story for the Atlantic magazine, so that was a hard deadline that we have to hit. Sometimes we can be more flexible with it, but that's why it was like 8 days, go. Often we get more time to storyboard, and I can show you what a normal storyboard looks like, kind of. I get a lot more detailed with it. I'm going to show you what the storyboard for this one looked like, though. It looked like this.
Yeah.
This is all I had time to do, and I didn't even storyboard the whole thing. You know, I sent this to my bosses for approval, and they really trust us a lot to get stuff done, and it's really awesome. So I tried to make it as clear as I possibly could. It's a little, I have my notes that it's, you know, you can see I'm kind of like crossed stuff out when I'm like, no, that's not gonna work.
Disregard this frame, disregard this frame.
And you see the blank frames at the end where I was like, no time. We gotta go.
TBD.
So that is how I storyboard this. I guess really quickly I wanna show you what the storyboards usually look like, just to get a frame of reference for, this will be a good one, I think. If I can get these open.
And the big thing is that sometimes a storyboard is just a conversation piece, right? So you need to communicate, hey, what's going to happen? Well, I'm thinking about doing this. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be exactly how it'll look.
Exactly. I can show you in this storyboard actually parts where it's not the same because of time constraints and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, so I will show, this is like, you'll see this is V2, like it's very tiny, but this is version 2. And usually, you know, so in my version 1 storyboards, we had a back and forth, and you know, they're like, change this frame to this, or we wanna make sure that we include this, and I'll make these tweaks. Usually at that point, if they have more feedback, I'll just start and I won't go back and like keep revising the storyboards forever, just to make, you know, best use of our time. But so this is kind of what a storyboard normally looks like. I draw all of these frames in Photoshop and I'll export them all and put them in an InDesign doc and like write in or like copy paste the script.
InDesign. The
yeah, I use everything.
You're using every part of the buffalo here.
I'm really taking full advantage of the Adobe suite, the whole cloud. So yeah, if you've seen this video, it's an animated interview we did with David Sedaris, and in this like frame 7, there's him. He's not there. It's just pancakes in this part of the animation because we just didn't have time. I didn't have time to like create that whole thing. So somebody's asking about mood boards.
Yeah, I was gonna say Nathan's asking, do you create a mood board as well? Now,
I certainly do.
Sometimes people say mood board or style frame.
Well, I will say I don't do style frames really, and that's why we usually don't have time, and we'll try to kind of give an idea of the flavor. Maybe we'll sometimes find an inspirational video just to be like, kind of like this,
right?
To get that approved. But we're really fortunate at the Atlantic. Yes, I am in-house, Heidi. Yes, we have 4 full-time animators right now, including me. But yeah, we just don't have a lot of time to do that. So we get a lot of trust to. And it's really fun, honestly. We have a lot of creative freedom. So that is one of the really exciting things one of the many exciting things about working at my job. We get a lot of creative control. So here are a bunch of, I guess these would be my mood boards, and I use Pinterest for all of these. So for the Russia video, what's funny, you'll see actually, I didn't end up using a lot of this. The style and the color scheme from the Russia video came from some artwork that was designed by another studio. This never happened. This is like the only time we've ever done this. But they had artwork created for the actual in-magazine cover story. Ah. And most of it was like painted and like portraits.
Ooh.
But there was one piece that was like, this is very geometric and nice. And with time constraints and everything, and we wanted it to just look consistent. We were like, let's just extrapolate from there. So I just designed everything in that same kind of like geometric style. But at the beginning, you know, when we were first working on this, I did a lot of like propaganda posters, stuff like that. If you look at like the David Sedaris boards that I had, I just grab a bunch of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't look anything like this. Like the final animation for this didn't look like this, but I just wanted to see, you know, what does his stuff look like all the covers of his books.
Yeah. You need to understand the landscape that you're going to be.
Yeah, it's good for inspiration, and sometimes then you're like, I don't want to, it's like adhere to this, you know, I'll branch out. So definitely do some mood board stuff.
Because things don't come out of a void, right? You need to search for inspiration. You need to immerse yourself in the thing you're going to be talking about. You know, it's, a lot of folks might think, oh, it just pops out of her head, you know, just.
Yeah. Something we were talking about before, I think I might have mentioned on the stream yesterday, was having constraints in design makes it a lot easier. And I think when you're starting out too, especially if you're doing personal stuff or you're a student, you're like, you know, staring at a blank page is really hard. If you give yourself things that you have to stick to or like a jumping off point, it makes it a lot easier to get started. You have, even like yesterday, I was like, let's make some dressage stuff. And I was a little freaked out because I was like, I don't have, you know, who's the client? Like, what is the content? Do we have assets? Like, no. So, yeah, there's like a little bit of a like,
Well, we like to put you on blast here at Adobe Live, you know.
Throw me into that deep end.
That's right. It's a
and
fun
if I
game.
drown?
Hey, that's good TV.
So. People are going to tune in for it.
That's right. Here in the Thunderdome of creative animation.
There will be some battling.
Exactly.
So yeah, just like there's the storyboards again. And so what I do then, and I can show you this here too, I break up, usually when I have a full storyboard, I'll break up all of these sequences basically. So these numbers at the top are like, this is gonna be one shot, one continuous like scene where this is all like one comp essentially. That's how I divide up. So I can like kind of divide and conquer my projects. A lot of these are like 3 or 4 minutes long. And so yeah, I want to split it up. And then I have this whole like hierarchy situation. So in my graphics, I have scene 1, and this is where all the assets for this scene 1 will go. And scene 2. And then if we go into the After Effects file, I have all of those scene 1, scene 2, like I have all of these corresponding comps.
So you've already pre-planned these hard edits or these, you know, where does one thing start, where does one thing end?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, one of the questions I get a lot is, well, how do you go from one scene to another? Like, well, step 1, plan. You want to take it back, because we're neat, and always plan things out.
Bring yourself all the way back to the beginning. The planning is the biggest part, and that's why if you can get detailed storyboards, that's awesome. And then even if you're in a situation like this where you're like, I have to get this done right now, as much as you can plan so you're not getting lost, you know, like label everything. Save everything in a folder where you can immediately find it again. It just makes the whole process gets exponentially kind of smoother, like the better plan you have. And it makes it all a lot easier. And then you don't have to be like, how do I transition out of this? Like, ideally, you would plan for it. Frequently, you don't necessarily have the time, and you kind of have to wing it, but you get better at that over time. So, what can we...
JC is asking, what are we doing today? Those of you just joining us, what are we doing? Well, we're going to be actually animating some stuff. Yesterday, we talked a lot and made some horse-based promises, so that we will be delivering on those horses.
We will super be delivering.
We're gonna bring them into the barn. We're gonna, you know, we're gonna wrestle them up.
We're gonna wrestle some horses today on Adobe Live, so get ready for that.
Yeah, we have a horse waiting in the hall.
If you could just bring in the horse. No, we're not physically contacting the horse.
However, we will be animating some stuff. So we just wanted to show you, you know, some aspirational things at the beginning before we jump into things. But yeah, it'd be good to crack open some of these comps and see
Let's
what,
dig in
what
here.
actually goes into making, because these look very impressive and kind of confusing for someone who's like, what is happening, right? Like, it's wonderful to watch. There's a lot of motion, there's a lot of things, you know? And yeah, Nathan is asking, I see you build your comps from the bottom to top. I see your, and I would say it looks like you're an upstairs person. Is that, are you,
Oh man, I have to be honest, I've never thought about it. So I guess it is a preference. I just kind of, I think that kind of just came by default. Like if you duplicate a layer in After Effects, it goes up.
Yeah.
And I just kind of, so yeah, if you look at this, the master comp, everything is going like boop, boop, boop.
Yep. So when we say,
It's just like that.
are you an upstairs person or a downstairs person?
Yeah, I like to go up, you know?
That's what we're talking
It's
about.
aspirational. It makes me feel like, you know, I get to the top by the time I'm at the end, so.
Champion. Good. So yeah, and it's because you could go down the stairs also, and that would mean that the previous scene is overlapping the next scene, right? It's like a, I'm going to do animating out of things or animating into things.
That's a good point too, and it just didn't shake out that way in this one, but sometimes I do have them kind of, because it does depend on what kind of transition you're doing. If I'm just doing like a fade out from one to another, sometimes it's easier for me to just put, you know, the second comp underneath and have the first one fade out. I mean, you can do it in a couple different ways, but
there are almost infinite ways to do the things, you know?
almost too many ways.
Yeah, sometimes.
I would say.
So, you know, there's right ways, there's wrong ways. I don't know if there's really, if it accomplishes the look you want, there's not much wrong.
That's another thing about motion graphics.
Yeah.
It's taken me years to figure this out really, to like really understand it, but there is no wrong way. Like at the end of the day, the output is what matters. And even if you're doing it in a super messy way, ideally, you know, you want to get good at like planning things out, doing things in an efficient way and a fast way, but like what ends up on the screen at the end of the day, like that's, shoot for that.
And it's, yeah, because I think there's sometimes a debate about, oh, am I doing it right? You know, and you hit render at the end of the day. You're pressing the render button.
Yeah.
You know, everything's getting mushed down.
You spit it out.
It's right there. And, you know, not everything, someone's going to come in and touch your work later. Not everyone's checking your math. So.
Right. So, and you want to keep your comps clean. You want to get into good habits and stuff like that. But if you're just getting started. So this is the Adobe Illustrator file for this guy. See if I can pull him down a little bit. And this was handcrafted.
Because yesterday we had a lot of questions about moving from Illustrator to After Effects,
Right.
which we're definitely going to get into here. And yeah, Zach is in After Effects. How you organize your timeline is a reflection of how you organize your life.
It's like a Zen garden.
That's right.
Kind of.
When you tend your sand
You gotta
garden.
rake out the sand. I do use a lot of seafoam.
Yeah. That's right, Zach. It's
a good one.
It's a metaphor. After Effects is a metaphor for your life.
So yes, for getting this in, you can see I don't break it up into like sub layers. I kind of put everything on its own layer. And with Overlord, which I don't mean to be plugging quite as much as I am, but again, if you're starting out from like a 2D graphic design, check it out. I mean, it will make your life so much easier if you like to build your assets in After Effects or in Illustrator.
That's right. That's our plug for
Again and again. So yeah, I have a lot of this. I have kind of split it up based on what I think I might need to animate it. And
which things are going to be animated differently, because you got your strokes there.
exactly. And this one, again, because it was 8 days, I'm like, how do I animate? I want it to look cool. I want it to look like techie. We're doing like Russian hacking. I want it to be like circuits and computers stuff, you know, as one does.
The parts of a computer. We all know what all the parts
Those
are.
parts.
We don't need to be quizzed on that.
Let's get into it. So I just broke it up to strokes and fills. There's also a lot of these. See if I can, like, there's so many. There's just a great deal. I have a lot of paths, individual pads in here.
I'll just move myself out of the way with all those layers.
If you can.
Crushing
Sorry.
me.
Ah!
Crushing with all those layers.
This is very scary today. So I have a lot of paths going on in here. And I used Overlord to just get in each of these individual layers one at a time. And what that looks like up in here is layers for days.
Whoa.
So I got quite a few layers, and I split it up just to make it easier for me. I color code stuff just so I can tell. Sometimes there's things I need to go in and grab. And for this one, boom, literally the only thing I'm animating in here is the opacity. And I'm using a lot of plugins I put the same opacity on a lot of these. And then I use some, I think it's like Rift, to highlight all the keyframes and just like stagger them throughout time. And the end result is...
Russia hacked the 2016 elections, and they're going to...
Yeah,
Russia
he just
hacked
gets
the
out of here.
2016 elections, and they're going...
Very good. That's... And it... Like, it's one simple thing repeated many, many times. And it's just the timing of it, like, the timing of it away feels very smooth. It's, yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of it. I'll show this to you later, I think, when I get into some horse stuff. I kind of, you block out your animation, you know what you want it to look like. So I'll just put all these opacity keyframes exactly in the same spot. They're all there. Then you go in and you kind of shuffle stuff around to get it to look right.
Right. Good, good. Speaking of things happening later, in about 8 minutes, someone's going to win some lapel pins right here, which I am keeping safe.
I could just look. If I could just take a closer look
I mean,
at
if you just, there you go. Okay, and now that's disappearing.
And it's gone now.
Way it goes. So those, be active in the chat. Hit us up with your questions. Sometimes they're flying by so fast we miss them. And, you know, because Eugene here is saying that he never splits his strokes and fills, but he's assuming it's for a desired effect, right?
Yes, I will say 2 things. I split it up because my computer can only handle so much. And I'll be honest, animating this and getting it all in there, it took a while. Like, the animation was relatively simple to implement, but if you're just shuffling that many keyframes on that, even selecting all the keyframes on those layers, my computer is kind of like, I did also break them up because as you'll see later in this, like, there's a lot of these strokes animating on in a certain way. They're not, you know, they're not like opacity, like blinking on. They're kind of drawing on. And I used both of those. I used the opacity, like flickering, and the drawing on a lot. So I kind of wanted to give myself the option to do that, and then I ended up just taking it in a different direction just for efficiency and time. So like sometimes you give yourself as many options as possible so you can make those decisions when you're doing it.
Oh, Lucas here is, sorry, Lucas is asking, can we go to the WeWork meetup? Is that what we're doing after this?
What is the WeWork meetup? Please?
We are in San Francisco right now, but Lucas, let us know.
Yeah,
Are we?
If that's around, I got no clue, but I'm interested. I'm intrigued.
Were we invited? Oh man, we gotta check our emails. But yeah.
Let me show. Somebody's asking about Rift. And
Yeah, and JC's asking...
God willing, I have it on here, please. I do, okay.
Because JC's asking, do you want a lot of control over the keyframes, or do you just want it to be kind of random? Like, how do you induce randomness?
While I reopen After Effects because I just crashed it. Yeah, I'm gonna get rid of this. Y'all don't need to know who I am.
Quit flashing your badge around.
Like, escort required.
They told us when we issued them.
It sure did quit unexpectedly.
I was unexpected.
Sometimes I spook it.
But yeah, so when people are asking sort of, when do you want things to be random? Do you want high control? Do you want randomness with control? You know, where does Rifts fall into the continuum there?
Yeah, it'll depend. I want to show you guys Rift, and this time I'm not going to drag it over there, so we're just going to pop it open. This is just I've been using this for forever, and it's just a tried and true script for me that has a lot of control over, with these checkboxes, you can, you control if you can stagger like layers over time, or keyframes, or both. And then you can quickly, if you don't, to answer JC's question, kind of, there's a button here where I can just move all the keyframes right back if I want. And I think that gives me a decent amount of control because sometimes I will experiment, like, with these opacities flickering on, I want it to take a certain amount of time. If it all comes on too quickly, it doesn't really look as good. But if it takes too long, it doesn't kind of capture the effect that I'm going for.
Right, and like, should it be a linear progression? Should it be, some, and then a lot of them, and then some?
Right.
There's so many ways to go about doing that, which, since there's infinite ways to do things, this is a good time to remind people the challenge today is animating a basketball going through a hoop. There's infinite ways you could do that. you know, you got a hoop, you got a basketball. How is it going to get there? So if you're coming in late here, head over to the challenge tab on Behance and check that out. Download the After Effects template and get that basketball going into the hoop. Win a year of Creative Cloud. It's your reminder. But also, in about 4 minutes, those lapel pins. Oh, good. It's materialized right back here.
I put it back.
That's right.
I'm an honest soul. But I do want one. Whoever wins it,
Just put the
could
vibe.
you just send me a quick DM on Twitter? You know, we'll see if we can work something out.
My goodness. Oh, and you've just been tagged in the MDA Slack. So
Nice. Thank you. Okay, I'll check that out. Adobe is asking us a question
Huh.
about getting started in After Effects expressions, which is a
Ooh.
great question. Evan has a lot of really good tutorials. Like I mentioned yesterday, working on the Mogerts, I used a lot of sourcerec.time, and I learned everything I know about sourcerec.time from Evan Abrams.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah, expressions are kind of like a language, right? So when we say, how are you going to get good at a language? Well, generally you're using it initially to solve a problem, right? I learned a bit of Spanish because I was taking a vacation, you know, down to South America, and I wanted to be able to order beer, find a bathroom, and
The two key things.
yeah, and get a taxi back to my hotel. Those are the three things I
The
wanted.
three key things.
The three things I wanted to be able to do. And so, but when we relate that to expressions, you think like, what do you want to do with them? And that's usually people's entry point. Because you were saying, you jumped into it with looping, right? That was your
Yeah.
the first thing, like, why won't the machine just do this for me? And so,
And it's, you know, you see really cool loops all the time. People are in it, like, it's an easy way if you're practicing something, you just bang out like a quick animation to learn a new skill. And you're like, I just want to loop this and like throw it up on Dribble or Instagram or whatever. And it, you know, it's so easy if you use the loop out expression. And even then you can get a little deeper into it because there's other types of looping.
you can loop out, you can loop in,
You can ping pong.
you can continuous, you know, you keep that curve going. There's so many things.
Yeah, you can really get fun with it.
And so from one of those little kernels, you know, eventually people sort of build out and they see what's up from there. But I really think it's important to get in and try something early, and to say, you know, what does this do? And then try to delve into why does it do it? You know, what am I writing? Why did I write that? What do these things mean? And I'm making this symbol for brackets. Sorry. Oh boy, parentheses. Don't tweet me. Don't tweet at me.
Don't at me.
Please don't at me about brackets, braces, parentheses. I'm not a coder by any stretch of the imagination. But these little syntax and grammar things that are the language that you use to communicate with After Effects. And it's similar to communicating with a person, except After Effects has no interest in learning your language and takes what you say very literally. So there's no use of idiom and that kind of thing. You have to specifically say what you want it to do. And you have to learn how you would talk to it. And part of that is, well, how does it identify objects? How does it identify, you know, what's a function? What's an object? And learning those things. So I definitely recommend starting with something small and building out from there. For me, like I often look at, for resources, I look at the Adobe help file actually. There's a big language reference at the help.adobe pages. Certainly not everything's in there, but
I'm just doing
it's looping, it's looping
some
now.
quick highlighting
Exactly. So
of, maybe we do. Wiggle is a big one too. You start out with the basic stuff.
people start out with Wiggle. People love that.
Ah.
And you know, learning what these things are doing and how they're interacting. I think a lot of it is from experience. Rachel's saying, can we add sound effects to the challenge? You can. We may not actually hear them. I don't know if I have the speakers turned up on this. We'll give it a whirl. But yeah, we would
Yeah,
love
please
to.
do.
Something that's interesting is like sound really impacts what you're seeing. You know, because like when you've got things flashing onto that animation,
Yeah.
right? Like having little sounds like is very, very helpful just to solidify what you're seeing. You know, it's got all the parts.
Yeah, if I can just, like, I add a lot of sound effects to ours. That's kind of, you know, since we're doing everything. And the Rush animation, my coworker, Tynesha Foreman, insanely talented animator as well. She did all the sound effects, kind of helping me out in the 11th hour, and it was awesome. But try, if you can, to take the time to do that if that's something that you are able to do. sound really is, I've read this before a few places, could not attribute it to save my life, but it's like 50% of it, really. Sound is a huge impact on the video. It can really change the tone and music. I've started putting, I'm doing a lot more of the audio editing too on our projects going forward. And just like switching out music tracks, you're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
Like huge difference.
I feel very different about this piece now.
I actually hate it now.
Yeah. Speaking of sound effects, it's time for random giveaway. So everybody, if you haven't been active in the chat, you should get active right now because we're gonna fire up.
Get pumped.
We're gonna fire up the random picking robot. He's getting warmed up in the corner. The robot that needs to be activated. It's getting ready to run that process to get these delightful pins. So you can rep your apps when you're out in the street. You flash this at someone, you're like, hey, what's up? I'm in the crew. Don't worry about it. And,
we know.
yeah, game recognized game.
We're all part of that.
That's how we identify each other out in the streets. That's important. And yeah, definitely get active in the chat. Tell us where you're at. Mike Overbeck.
No pillow today.
It's no
Sorry.
pillow. It's not a soft pillow. It's cold, hard enamel pins. These will stick you, man. But not really. They have a nice safety back on them. They'll be fine.
If you had a pillow, you could just kind of put that right on
you had
there.
both. If you had a Creative Cloud pillow.
With
and
a Creative
you were
Cloud
collecting
pin?
all the pins.
You would be the coolest person.
They're like merit badges. You get the merit badge
when you've earned it.
when you earn it. So, how we determine whether you've earned it or not, well, it's whether you've posted your projects in Behance. So make sure you're also doing that. But yeah, for those of you who are on YouTube and you're like, whoa, wait, I have to be active in a chat to win something. I'm talking about the Behance chat where you got to log in, go to behance.net/live, watch this in its truest form here so that we can see your wonderful questions.
And I want to call out Josh's when we get to that. Joshua Gomez asking about, I think you're asking about this maze. Actually, a lot of stuff in here was really simple to do. I mean, it needed to be, so I'll show it to you after we...
You say simple. I say elegant.
Stately, as I said.
Because it, like...
Caitlin's stately Cadieux, they call me.
That's right. Everyone does.
I ride in on my horse, I dressage in, and I animate.
Yeah. I don't trot anywhere. All right.
I don't trot.
Dressage everywhere I go.
A pee-off is what it's called. We're going to learn about it today.
I don't think you can say that word on Adobe Live.
I actually sneezed.
Okay. But yeah, it's like the balance of that thing, like it seems kind of random, but while it's random-ish, but it could be random and everything's glommed in one side or whatever, but it's balanced,
controlled.
right? Yeah.
I'll pull open that the Illustrator file because again, can you see dressage? It's coming.
It's coming up. Yeah, this is how we break things up. After the giveaway, we get into the horses.
We're gonna get into some.
We've got good pacing.
Horses.
Today. And without further ado, your winner of the delightful pins is Kathy Lamborel. So,
Boom.
Kathy, congratulations. People will be in touch to hook you up with those pins, get somewhere to ship them. So, way to go, Kathy. It's terrific.
Hey, Scott.
Kathy says she never wins anything.
Well, you did now.
Today, you're a winner.
Boom. That's a good time. You're always like, I didn't win anything. You're like, that girl.
That's true, because there's a delay on this chat.
Yeah,
it's interesting. Or maybe there isn't. We're super live right now.
We're extremely live.
We're the livest.
See how long we can keep that going.
Yeah, keep that latency down, guys.
Yeah, Kathy, if you just want to mail me those pins, I know.
Yeah, why don't you just...
You just want to... No. Congratulations. These are very cool.
Yeah, these are great.
I'm reasonably jealous.
Yeah, you have good reason to be jealous.
And so I just want to quickly show that maze situation before we get into our very elegant dressage that I've handcrafted, artisanal.
It's a maze you can actually solve?
So, I don't believe so. I kind of just built this out, essentially, if I can, it's in my background circle, so, whoop. Yeah, I just kind of built this out by copy-pasting proportionally a bunch of circles. I think I used a blend for that, just so they would be like proportionally spaced out. And then I just like went in by hand and started cutting pieces together and connecting them. There were a couple pieces here.
Ooh, little circles on there.
Yeah, I got my little dots. I got some, so you see like these aren't even connected because it just depends on how I'm gonna animate it out. there's, yeah, little pieces here where I just like connected them together with tiny little strokes. And if you just keep everything kind of proportional, same stroke width, and then using Overlord, bleep blorp,
That's the sound Overlord makes.
It totally does legally.
On the next update, please include a noise.
And let me see now if I can find it, because as you'll see, there's a great deal of stuff in here.
The horror.
And it looks like a lot.
It does look like a lot.
So I'm gonna have to see if I can locate. It's these. Okay. I'm gonna boil it down because it looks really crazy, and I promise you that it wasn't too rough to set up using Wayfinder, another Paul Canigliaro script. This thing was a absolute lifesaver on this project, so I used a lot of these circuit lines with the dots on the end. What Wayfinder does is allow you to stick any kind of shape or object onto a path, and it'll follow it. And so I also used it here for all of these lines. See if I can...
And you just select the path and hit go. Is it
basically, yeah, there's some options on here, but as you can see, not too many. It's not too crazy to start using this. So all of these are just animated with a trim paths, and this circle is its own kind of its own shape layer, and it just follows the path. And I use that a lot. And I did the same thing. Why am I scrolling down? I do this here. That ain't right. Yeah, it just animated it on in pretty much the exact same way. So really what makes this complicated is how many layers, but implementing it, it's not too bad. And definitely don't be afraid of grabbing these scripts.
Oh, Kathy's willing to share her pins with you.
Thank you.
You can have joint custody of the pins.
Yeah, like we'll go on weekends, I get the pins. No, I'm just kidding.
And JC's asking, would you say you spend most of your time in Illustrator or in After Effects?
That's a great question. I don't know exactly, and I want to say it's like half and half, because you have to spend a lot of time animating this all out. Usually that's the end of the process, since we're creating all of the assets too. I also, though, I break it down into scenes, like I mentioned earlier, so like scene folders, and I try to do that so I can keep track of everything, but I will mix it up. So I don't like make every asset and then start animating.
Right.
You know, I'll do like scene one, like I'll knock this out. I'll make the eagles, these two eagles, and then I'll go in and I'll animate it because I know what I want to do for that, and it's its own discrete scene. And then maybe I'll move on to another thing, or I'll do that because I know I use. Oh, you can't see it, but it's the same eagle. Artwork comes back a few times. So, you know, I'll make it up front and then I'll, you know, kind of sprinkle it throughout, animate it wherever it needs to go.
Awesome.
I do spend a lot of time in Illustrator. As you can probably see, there's a lot.
Yeah, and something I'll say is that some motion designers are heavy illustration based, like they come from a world of illustration and then they made the things move, right? And
right.
Some people come to it from the world of editing, you know, or they come to it from a coding background. Everybody comes to it from different places, and they bring different disciplines to bear. So for some people, they're way more comfortable drawing in Illustrator because that's where they learned. Other people are more comfortable making assets in Photoshop.
Yeah,
right?
Or like Scott Benson is this really great animator. He made the game Night in the Woods, if anybody has played that. But he made all the artwork for that game even, but for all of his motion stuff, he does it all in After Effects. Like he just makes it in After Effects with shape layers, and it's crazy.
That's a charmingly bleak game.
It is. That one's really good. They're raking in all the awards too, like well earned. They just got a BAFTA for. Anyway, check out that game if you want to, because all of the assets for that are like there's artwork, there's like murals in the background. It's like it's all After Effects stuff. Like that's what he works in, and he's really great at it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forget like motion design isn't just. It's not just explainer videos. It's not just lower thirds. Like, there's people doing motion work for apps. People doing motion work for video games. People doing motion work for all kinds of things. You know, you're not pigeonholed into one output mode.
Right. It's like user interface stuff.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of motion going on in that right now.
If you've got the principles, the world's your oyster.
It is. The world
for
is
those who like oysters. I'm not down with.
There's a bit of a divide between Evan and I, and it all comes down to the oyster thing.
Right. W/R/T.
I'm on the oyster train, the oyster sloop. Like, what do you catch an oyster on? I don't know.
A barge?
Oyster farm. That's a thing.
Well, it's...
We know that.
Yeah, it's shocking incredible, whatever it is. So,
do we want to hop into... Oh, I can answer this question. Moving from one scene to another.
right.
That's
yeah.
a great question. And I have to say, I've heard some people talking about this on Twitter. I've seen it, I guess. That a lot of the time people don't stick with the classic, like, just cut from one scene to another.
Right.
I do
The
that a
hard
lot
cut.
because planning for transitions is a tough thing to do, especially if you don't have a lot of time. That's something that you really need to plan ahead for. I will say, depending on the type of work you're doing, I mean, definitely stick with the hard cut if you can. That's easy. You don't have to worry about it too much. Or maybe you pan a scene.
Yeah.
Panning from one kind of set of objects, one thing, pan to another one.
Because we talked about this early, that to plan out what you're going to do initially saves you a lot of time. Because you're going to say, well, how do I get from one scene to another? Well, I planned it out originally. Like, I'm thinking, this is a
Right.
common element. There's a circle in this scene. There's a circle in this. So why don't I just make this the circle and this is the circle and the same one, right? Because that's a point of commonality
Yeah.
that we could have.
You can see I'm cutting and cutting and cutting in this one.
Yeah, but it's and it's also these editing tricks that are like cutting on action, for example, or match cuts, where the composition of the frame is similar. It's a hard cut, but because of the similar composition, you know, it's not pulling the eye into different directions.
Right. And I think this is the closest I've gotten into it, but sometimes you just get weird. You animate background elements and you use them to cover up stuff, and then I know that's a little hard to see, but I think this is a good...
servers. The U.S. will only
Sorry about this.
Render harder.
Go, go. So I built this transition, I planned it into the scene, and that's why it's in one comp, it's in one shot. But it's stuff like this, like using, I set it up to have this blue and this white, and so I was able, I'm like, how do I get from this to the American flag? And I planned that out in my weird thumbnail storyboard phase, and then you can just implement
The
it.
U.S. will only see more of
But
these
again, I wouldn't be able to do that if I
The
hadn't
US will
planned
only see-
ahead.
Right, because the thing that's really happening is you get that blue shape. Blue shape is getting smaller, and you get the red shape. Red shape getting bigger, well, smaller, but not
It
as...
just kind of, it becomes more flag-esque,
Yeah, and it's...
and it just kind of turns into that.
Some people would like work backwards, right? They say, well, we're going to get to the flag. What are we before the flag? Because it can be helpful to say,
Right.
we're going from here backwards
And I
rather than
think
always working forward.
I sort of did that here because you can see I put in the red here to keep it interesting. It wasn't red, you know, and I was like, well, I'm going to need that
Yeah.
later. And so I have it animated all here, and then probably when it's here, I switch that out to just be like a solid red shape layer.
Yeah, because it's not a thing that turns into a thing that turns into a thing. It's like,
Right.
well, those are three different things. At this point, they look exactly the same.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get this with motion design, but it's like you're cheating the eye a lot. That's what animation is, you know, it's kind of like it's an illusion. And I used to...
It's an illusion.
It's a mind freak. It's a Chris Angel mind freak. And if you... I would never get, like, you can fill this up with red in one way, and then you can just cut that and put in a different object there. You know, don't be afraid to cut stuff. And swap things out, you know, when you can't, no one's seeing that, but it is happening, and then it comes into play later. So that's a big part of that.
Oh, Michael is saying, watch it in half res. You on adaptive resolution right now? Yes, no?
Am I?
I don't know.
Like, do you want to watch it in half res? Is
No,
that
I
the
don't
question?
think
I
we're
was
gonna.
like,
Do we want to?
sorry, I probably...
But actually, we should probably move on
Let's-
to horse time. We've been teasing the horse, you know. P.S. Don't tease horses. That's mean.
They can bite. They
They're-
can really bite. You gotta watch.
And
You know,
they're-
don't
they're-
tease them.
And they're majestic. Why would you do that?
That's true.
What's wrong with you?
Have a
Ian?
little respect,
Yeah,
please,
jeez.
for those at home.
Scott is saying, was that an NAB reference? Folks saw Chris Angel Mind Freak
It
at
was.
NAB.
We did. I saw Chris Angel Mind Freak at NAB.
Wow.
And I have to be honest, I didn't want to. No. I didn't. I wanted to see him.
I didn't want to see him.
They made me. I didn't want to get my mind freaked. I didn't think it was going to happen, and I have to be honest, it did. It did happen.
I want to have my mind freaked.
It was like halfway through, I was like, nah, no way.
Don't freak my mind.
I'm totally good. And then by the time it was over, I was like, oh, dang. it fully happened. My mind has been freaked, so
He got you.
you just never know. So this is something that I built out. I'm just gonna show it to you.
Okay.
Just let it roll.
Lay it on me.
Movement 1. There's my title.
Ooh.
Now I'm gonna switch over into my full comp.
Yeah, for those who didn't see yesterday, we did talk extensively about horse-related things towards the... Oh,
I have it going.
look at
I
this.
told you there would be a horse,
And it's doing it.
and a horse there was, so I kind of want to show you how I put this together.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you who missed yesterday, all these live things are archived for all time and space, so you can always watch them back. But stick with us. Look at these legs. Look
He's
at him
going.
go.
So I did a little research on dressage yesterday. I realized that I really didn't know a whole lot about this art form. I also will say though, I started out with whoop whoop whoop.
Yeah, this is where we we go back in time. Where did it begin? What's the story?
Oh yeah.
here?
So I was like, yeah, I want to do some dressage stuff, and so I started out doing some visual research. And I hit up Adobe stock because I wanted to look what they have. You can see here are my recent searches: dressage and horse.
You're taking a big risk showing the
And
recent searches.
Look
but,
at how beautiful. There's some really lovely imagery here for us to use. And I
Yeah.
just, because I want to know, like, what do the movements look like?
Yeah, and we talked a big horse game yesterday, but we're both fairly ignorant of the sport
Yeah,
of
I
dressage.
had 2 horses, like, growing up. We had 2 horses. We barely rode them. They were more kind of just to hang out and, like, eat grass, I guess.
Okay, they
Didn't
were-
do any dressage. Very uneducated about that. So I pulled some of my favorites in here to look at, like, the anatomy, to look like how they're stepping, and then I just really liked these ones. So
I shopped for saddles. for a
lovely
while.
horses.
Yeah.
And then I did a little bit of research into like dressage movements. They have a lot. They have, I don't know if this is pronounced passage or passage. I was like,
The passage.
passage. So,
We might be getting a little hoity-toity on this one.
I mean, it's dressage. So the piaffe, that has caught my eye quite a bit watching this. And I did some YouTube research as well to kind of get the movements down. I will say that I found some comments on YouTube that it makes it very clear that maybe this is not. I don't think I found a video on dressage on YouTube where they were like, "Great form, this is great." It was
All haters.
how ridiculous our dressage world has become.
A lot of dressage haters out there, I guess.
Yeah, or just purists, I guess.
Right.
They were very, get the tension right and the flexion on the knees and hocks.
Weak hoof game.
Yeah, weak hoof game,
Sad.
not great. So take that with a grain of salt. So I decided to animate. Let's just go here and see our piaffe. Now this is a horse trotting in place
Okay.
with a good elevation of their hoof situation.
Okay.
So
I'm looking at those ears. I'll be honest.
that good,
Those
like,
floppy ears.
I don't know, maybe that's like bad form. Maybe they're supposed to, but I like, just adding some visual interest. You
Yeah.
want to kind of have things going in a secondary.
Yeah, that sympathetic motion of the
Yeah, he's
flooping.
they kind of hold their head in a certain way.
Yeah, they're always like, oh. Like,
They're like, oh, are you too good for us, horse? Look me in the eye. But they're like,
isn't it dangerous to look horses in the eyes? If you know about horses in the chat, you can let us know.
I don't know. I feel if you look a horse in the eye, it's very emotional.
Right.
You feel like they can see.
You connect with the soul of the
Everything.
animal. Right.
It's a little unnerving.
When you stare into the horse, it stares back into you.
Maybe too much.
Yeah, and just a reminder, deadline for challenge submission. Got 40 minutes coming on, so you got the hoop, you got the basketball. Put the basketball through the hoop. It's not as majestic as a horse, but
It can be.
oh, when you see half-court shot, if you see Steph Curry play, and you don't think majestic,
I'm not a basketball person, so I'm like,
okay, well,
go Thunder. Oklahoma City represent.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know anything about it,
okay,
but I still support it.
you're in Golden State country now, so yeah, you should
Yeah.
keep those opinions to yourself.
This is weird now. Sorry, y'all.
It's all right. There don't seem to be too many Golden State fans. Nope. Oh. Gus is a calves guy.
Thank you,
and he's-
Joseph. We should have our own podcast. We'll talk about this off the air.
Yeah. We'll talk about this later. But yeah, JC, glad you're impressed with the horse. I'm very impressed with the horse.
Thank you.
Like, I left you alone for a couple of hours, so we come back to this. So
I want to answer 2 questions. Nathan is asking how long this took. I illustrated and animated this yesterday. I wish I could say how long. I mean, a few hours probably. Character animation, I used Duick to put this together to get the horse legs going. Let me pop up into the horse zone.
yeah.
So you can see,
Now we're in the horse zone.
get into the horse region, and you can see I have my controllers. I got all my keyframes. So these are like the legs animating. And then everything's got loop on it because, you know, to just keep it going.
Right.
Boop, boop. So there he goes.
Boing, boing,
Really
boing,
wonderful
boing.
flexion on the hawks there.
If you don't think this is good hawk flexion,
At me,
At me.
actually. I want to have that talk.
send your tweets to @KateCadieux.
So one good thing too about JC asked about this too
Yeah.
is yes, I duplicated the legs.
Yeah, why make more legs than you have to?
Then
right?
yeah, I mean there's only 4 legs on a horse. Let's not get crazy. Well, that
What?
could be cool. I'm not going to animate a 6-legged horse,
That's a
but
horsepede, that's a
challenge
different-
accepted. Get a little like Sleipnir. I think that's like a Norse mythology thing.
Okay.
That'll later, guys.
Right. And all of this was drawn in Illustrator.
Yes.
Right? That's the genesis, right? Well, first we look
Genesis, the horse inception.
horseception.
It all starts
It's horses all the way down.
in Illustrator.
We stared at pictures of horses and then drew some horsies.
Boom.
And here it is, horse at rest.
Here he
Right.
is. So I got my different leg sections, and I did some like horse anatomy research.
Did you know horses' legs are fingers?
You know what? I heard that episode, and I don't know if I really agree with that.
We're both big My Brother and Me podcast fans where we learned
My brother, and me. At me. Do you need motion graphics?
you should see the animation that people
They
do
have
for the
really good
programs.
They got a good crew of animators.
But looking at the skeleton of a character, I think is pretty crucial that to understand, like when you look at the body of a horse or anything, you look at the body of a person, you look at the, there's squishy, muscly parts.
Be nice
all
about
over.
it though, guys.
Right. Don't
Don't
judge.
make it weird.
When you objectify the body of a horse, you break it down but there's all these little shoulder bones, these little scapula things here, and what you see on the surface isn't necessarily the mechanics of the movement,
I
right?
didn't realize this was on an acupuncture website.
Oh, if you don't think horses get acupuncture, you got another thing coming.
Cool.
They get massage therapy. There's a lot of crystals involved sometimes. But yeah, so because you look at that highly complicated shoulder situation right there, some people would think, oh well, the legs just come out of that bottom part of the horse and they hinge around there. Not at all.
And I'll pull over the skeleton. Like you see, this is like the scapula, your shoulder blade. They got like a section here, a section here. Whoop whoop.
Mm-hmm.
They got all of these pieces, kind of. So the quadruped is very zigzaggy in their bone situation, and you do want to account for that in the design because then how you build out all of the joints.
Yeah, and someone's asking, did you do this in rubber hose and that kind of thing? But yeah, you use Duick.
I use
instead.
Duick for this. I use a lot of rubber hose, but for the hose, I know you can do more with puppet pins and stuff in there, and I haven't really gotten into that in rubber hose because I've been using Duick for a pretty long time, and it's still, the learning curve on Duick can be kind of steep, but once you know how to do it, it's pretty simple.
And people were asking yesterday about, what are some free tools and plugins? Duick is free.
Duick is very free,
It's
and it's
free.
excellent. I would recommend throwing that guy some money for
Yeah. It's
doing
an-
the development on it. I mean, it's so phenomenal.
It's an incredible tool. It's an incredible community that continues to build the tool, and it's staggering, the amount of labor that must have gone into this thing.
Yeah, and it's just so wonderful, and I use it all the time, for character animation. Rubber hose is fantastic also, but for this specific look, Duick is it's so invaluable, I think.
And something I wanted to ask you, we've got a horse at rest here, 4 feet on the
do.
ground. He's going to be moving around. Why not start drawing him in the most action phase, right? Is there Talk me through your process on which pose you're going to draw him in.
Yeah, that's a good question because there's a little bit of like trusting in yourself for this. And I will go in sometimes in Illustrator and I'll like, you know, rotate the piece. Grab that anchor point. And I'll just like, I'll put the pieces where I think they would go if he's like on his leg here, just to see if it looks right.
Right, the proportions and everything.
You won't really know until you get it in there. I've never actually tried to animate that. I always saw, like in 3D animation, if they're gonna rig a character, they have like the T-pose where the character's just like standing like this. And it seems to be that that's the best way to kind of make sure that everything is in the place that it needs to be for it to deform accurately. I'm not a 3D character animation person, so
not yet.
Some of that, yeah, I'm working on it, but I haven't quite gotten that far. But yeah, this way I just know the bone, like this kind of knee area, like these are gonna line up exactly where they need to go, where they're gonna pivot around. Because we move our anchor points around in here to get in the right place. And like, so I have it this way. Here's got this like little kind of nub here. I'm gonna put the anchor point somewhere in here so that I just know that it's rotating around the spot that I want it to be rotating around. And yeah, it just goes into planning. And there have been times where I build out a character and then I like set it up and I don't like the way that parts are matching together. And so sometimes you have to go back and start over and tweak it. That's just part of the process though. And like once you get a feel for it, it's relatively simple to get started. So what I did was...
Oh, and Nathan's asking, where's the tail?
I kind of was like, I don't really know what I want the tail to look like. Because there's a mane on the horse in After Effects too, and I didn't add that.
Because these are more soft bodies, right? Like the tail and the mane, these are going to be soft, flowy things.
Yeah,
right?
and I kind of just, with the tail, I just made a tail, and I was like, you know, it's going to look weird if I don't have one. But I kind of cheated with like, oh, he's got like a braided mane.
Well, they do, the close
and they
braids
do,
on there.
yeah.
You can't have a floppy mane. That's bad form.
So yeah, I made the tail as a shape layer in After Effects just to get a little bounce in there. I'd love to get into some more, but I'm just...
You know what we could do later on in the program? Get that new puppet pin tool going.
We could.
We talked about that a little bit.
I do actually have something prepped for that too. I brought in another quadruped, an elegant giraffe, but just the neck part.
Okay, because one of the new features in After Effects for when you're doing characters or when you're deforming things is some new updates to our puppet pin tool here. So you have different densities. You still have the old legacy format of the puppet pin tool, but there are now, you can do different modes of how things go, whether it's sort of tubular or ribbon-like. There's way more little fine controls on stuff. So if you feel like, well, this rigid stuff is cool, but let's make things floopy, we'll also be doing that.
Floopy indeed.
That's right.
We got floopy. We got rigid.
We're going to floop the loop. It's going to be great.
It's going to be really good.
So yeah, you fired up Duick. Now you've got all your stuff in Illustrator. How does it get here? Like what happens next?
Overlord.
Overlord happens next.
Overlord happens.
Yeah. And
horse 2.
And I'll remind folks as well, that challenge, 30 minutes to go. 30 minutes, get that ball in the hoop.
You gotta get the hoop in there.
That's right. If you're...
No, get the ball in it.
Get the ball in the hoop. Get the hoop.
Hoop needs to be in there too, though,
right.
So I was right. I was right all along.
Two essential parts. We're learning about basketball as well. But yeah, if you're watching us, if you're just tuning in, we have a challenge going on. We've already given away our beautiful pins, but the challenge is download from behance.com/live, go to the challenge tab, download the template, get the hoop and the ball, and animate that ball going through the hoop. And you want to make sure you submit those to us in 30 minutes. All the details are on the challenge tab, behance.net/live, and check those out.
Get in there, you got 30 minutes.
Because you will win a year of Creative Cloud. That is an amazing prize. You know, this is the half-court shot, and make it happen. So,
get it in there.
Get
Nothing
it
but
in.
net. So I got this, I'm highlighting everything. I just want all of these to go in. I haven't labeled anything yet. It's all on one layer. And I'm gonna,
Push.
Thanks, Overlord. So now it's all in here. I highly recommend, labeling everything like so, but I'm not gonna go in but just label all your layers. It's gonna be a boon to you later if you can see in here everything. You're gonna want to be able to keep track of all the leg parts. I've color coded it. So let's just I'm gonna change the color on all of these so we can see it.
Right, just so we're able to kind of identify the component horse parts.
Kind of a weird, it's like a muscle.
Yeah.
We're flaying the horse.
Nasty.
Gross. That is an artistic term if you draw the musculature underneath. That's what that is. I'm pretty sure. I'm not making that up.
Okay.
So what you're going to want to do starting out with this is you want to move the anchor points for all of these into their pivot zones. And while I'm doing this, actually, take my own advice, I'm going to label everything.
That's right. Labeling,
So going to
important.
move this.
Yeah, if there's any pro workflow tip, label things.
it.
Label things. Not just, labeling is not just for someone else to open it. It's for future you to also look at it, you know. Future self would love to know what things are. And, you know, it's very important to be able to find things.
Yeah, and also Duick uses a lot of expressions, and one thing that can make it kind of difficult, especially if you're just starting out, is the names really matter. If you try to rename something without being careful about it, it could break the connections, like the expressions won't link up anymore, and that can be kind of a pain if you need to go in there and rename it. So I'm gonna start navigating all of my pieces, and you can kind of eyeball this. That's nice. So we gotta.
Nathan's asking, did you just key command to move those layers? Are you moving?
Oh yes, to move them to the top of the.
Yeah, move them to the top of your timeline there.
So yeah, if I highlight, I believe it's Command Shift, and then there's your like left and right bracket keys up here on the right of your keyboard.
Are they braces?
They're
keys?
brackets. I don't know. Okay, don't have a horse in this race.
Oh.
Friends at home. I'm trying. I'm not quite nailing the dad jokes as good as Evan is. But I am trying. Paul is saying that the timeline buttons are in the wrong order, and I'm not 100% sure. Could you clarify that?
Paul, which buttons? And what's so wrong about the order?
Yeah.
You know,
my default settings. I don't know.
Don't.
I'm like, is this broken? Like,
don't workspace shame, Caitlin.
I'm just doing my best. You know, I got everything over here in one.
Right, and you're working with the small screen workspace, right? Because you're on a laptop now. There's many different workspace configurations. You can move just about anything around, right? And it's no one size fits all. You know, you move the stuff where you need them. You save that workspace, you come back to it. So
yeah, I think I have this as I like resaved the default one, but I was using small screen for a while that I made, and it was when I was on here working with the Essential Graphics panel and doing Mogerts and stuff.
Yeah.
I needed to like really efficiently use my space, so I had a workspace set for that.
And like if you're jumping from desk to desk, you're going from a 2-monitor setup to a 1-monitor setup, and you sign into Creative Cloud, all those workspaces are still there for you. You know, just like you set them up at home, and you just have a look at them. So it's very portable. It's a very portable lifestyle. So that's very useful.
Right.
So you got all the things.
I'm gonna double check how I did this too, because this is every time. And with Duick, it's okay if you need to like check the sequence in which you select things and parent things is really important. And I want to make sure, like, what did I do with this shoulder? So he's not. This is just kind of stationary. So that actually works for me. We don't really need to worry about that. So we have our hoof. That's going to be what we want to. So Duick is like inverse kinematics. And that means we have a central controller, and it'll be the end of our limb. And so we animate that, and that is what is going to drive the rotation of all of these pieces of the arm, as like so.
Right.
And action for you.
Wave your human arms around when things are horsing around.
If you can, gosh, save this at home. I didn't need a gif of that. If somebody could just quickly.
There's a lot of people who, for reference on animations, like they'll go out and they'll film a horse, or they'll look on Adobe stock to watch a horse walk around. If you're doing
Pee off.
Sorry, pee off around. You can pee off.
It is a weird, yeah. I think you can pee off, sir.
But yeah, that's I'm gonna just pee off over there for. So you would look for some reference footage just to get the motion down. It's okay to look for those things. It doesn't have to spring out of your brain. You don't have to make everything from memory. Like, go look at a thing. Go stare at a horse. Spend a day at a horse farm. You know,
hang out, do some dressage.
Yeah, check it out.
Clear your head, kind of get into the dressage situation.
Because it's, I mean, don't. maybe some farmers will say, Evan, don't tell people to come bother me. But it doesn't hurt to get out in the world and observe the thing you're going to do.
Yeah, so we were joking earlier about bringing a real horse here. It's not a joke. No, it was a joke. There's no real horse coming.
We have a green screen. We could totally.
it made me think of like my inspiration for getting into motion graphics was like Disney movies, like 2D Disney movies, and I'll always remember, you know, in like The Lion King, they like brought lions into the studio to look at them. It's very much the same. It's going to be hard to capture. Yeah, Tristan. Hey Tristan, what's up? Thank you for being here. He says reference is key. It is. You know, the motion comes from somewhere. It doesn't have to just. That's another thing. It really intimidated me starting out. You know, but you're like, how do I get from here to there?
Yeah.
That animation looks so good, and it's studying the real world, and then you're kind of implementing that. So definitely, if you can, check out some dressage videos on YouTube. If you're doing this, go to a dressage thing if you have that capability. Don't read the comments.
Yeah, just don't read the comments on YouTube. Read no YouTube comments.
So I'm going to set up my controller. I have my hoof highlighted.
Also, you'll be happy to know there's a GIF versus GIF debate going on in the
I
chat.
refuse to address this, but it's GIF, guys. Get over it.
Whoa, shots fired.
Jeez. That's the gist of it, guys.
You mean the gist of it?
See, ridiculous.
Anyway.
There's no rules in English, basically, so I just feel like you can't really... you can't come down hard on one side. I'm fine with the GIF people, too.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Yeah. No. If you can, as long as someone knows what you're saying, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
you know what I'm talking about.
And-
Also, I love Jif peanut butter.
Right? Well, moms like you
So-
choose GIF, I guess.
Yeah. All right. Let's jet to it.
Yeah, let's do
And we're gonna have our hoof highlighted, and we'll go to controllers in Duik. We got Duik right here. I wish this made it like actually bigger, but hopefully this makes do. You can see there's a ton of options on here. I haven't even personally begun to delve into most of these. So really don't be intimidated because you don't need to worry about a lot of this. And they also have a lot of really good training online just to how to use this. There's a lot of tools in Duik. And guys, stop talking about the GIF thing.
Yeah, get back to the horses.
Back on the Jorse.
Well, that is to say, like, while you're in the chat, any questions for us, you let us know, you know, unless it's about pronunciation. So we will not be answering any pronunciation questions today.
Yeah,
but
we'll turn you away at the door.
that's right. You burnt.
So if we go to controllers,
Okay.
I don't even touch any of this. This is set up. You can change the size of it. You can change the color. Like white is fine. And I'm just literally going to, with my hoof still selected, hit create.
Okay.
And it makes a controller. And you come down here, there it is. You can see it's a guide layer automatically, so this will not render out. So you don't have to worry about that. And now we just need to connect the pieces.
Also, Anna's still calling you out for the lack of tail, so we'll get to it.
It comes later. It will be there.
Yep.
So I'm gonna grab my hoof and we go up the chain, parent it to the forearm, parent it to the bicep. We don't really need to worry about the shoulder. So then I'm gonna select each one of these incrementally. Hoof, I'm gonna hold down command, grab my forearm, grab my bicep, grab my hoof controller. God willing this works. Sometimes it gets a little funky, but we got this, create. Ah! It did work. So if you come over into the effect controls, there's this IK checkbox, IK forearm, and you can click it. And that's just, you can animate that if you need to switch directions. Obviously, horses kind of go in a one-way situation.
Right.
And we're like cooking with gas now.
It's just
It's
that
happening.
easy. Like, there it is. It's all right there.
And you do the same thing with the back leg.
And then around it goes.
And he,
So so the whole chain is now controlled by one thing.
Right.
One driver.
and if you go into my horse comp, and I'm gonna go up to my controllers, so all I've animated is the position and the rotation on all of these controls. That's all I gotta do, because since the hoof is parented to that controller,
Right.
if you you rotate it around, and then that's how you get that. And that's really all. I'm re-improving it. There's no animation. That's all we got on there. I don't want to.
We've blown some minds out there already. We're doing it.
Any tips on setting
Yeah.
up the anchor point on the right joint? Some of it is just kind of study, like you go from the bottom up. So as you can see, kind of we have like the hoof, the anchor point goes here at the top where that would be like the wrist.
Yep.
And then for the next piece, that's your forearm, and you want it to pivot around the elbow. So you'll kind of put it up there in the elbow or the knee, as it were. I don't know on a horse if that's like a knee or an elbow.
Well, we talked
If it's
about
a front leg.
Talk about the being fingers. So
It's a finger. It's not a finger, guys. Maybe. At me, Mabim Bam. Let's have a conversation about it.
please add us.
So yeah, it goes up, and definitely there are really good tutorials on Do It where they will go through the whole process too, and that helps clear it up a little bit.
And also, Joseph is asking, can you make an effect preset and just put that on the additional legs? So how would you go from one leg to many legs?
That's a great question. I've never actually tried that. I don't know if that's possible.
Because Do It isn't really an effect. It's a whole panel of things. Like it's running many processes to.
Right. I feel like that could possibly break.
And really, it was just click, 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 and then it goes.
And Do It, yeah. So Joshua asked, is the opposite side leg able to be duplicated as a group? I was messing around with this yesterday, and I did end up duplicating the legs.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this where it back to normal. A horse at rest. And I'm gonna see, I did end up duplicating the legs and then redoing everything. Let's see if I can duplicate. I don't think the Do It comes along with it if you duplicate it. So now we have two. Yeah, it's not coming along. So.
Oh man, Sarah says that she's been a Creative Cloud member for a while, and she only recently checked out the Behance, and she found a job on it. So
Oh, no way.
How about that?
That's awesome.
So for those of you who are watching on YouTube, watch on Behance, because there's apparently employment on there, and it's a great community. Behance is an amazing community of people who support each other and share work, and it is.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, now it's
we can
getting
talk about this.
very strange. What is
So,
going on?
I duplicated all of those. And I made them this dark pink so you can see the difference.
Right.
And then they're all parented right, so I just selected all of them, and then with the controller and did IK, and you can see it like immediately breaks. So let me see if I can fix that. I ran into this yesterday. This is kind of crazy, but you really don't have to worry about it too much. I think what the problem is you need to get all of the expressions come with it, but it's not, you need to start fresh. So I have these duplicated layers, and I'm just going to hold down Option and like click through these stopwatches to get rid of all of those.
Yeah, away they go.
And let's see if we need to remake the controller or not. Now I'm gonna go again, select them all.
And Oyan is asking, what if you pre-comp? If you were to pre-comp that leg, I mean, the trouble is you would have two of the same thing, right?
Yeah, and you can pre-comp it, but then you need to get in there and like, you need to animate it inside the pre-comp. And I've done that before because sometimes for organization, it's just easier to keep track. It really just depends on what you want to do.
Yeah, we could, if we were feeling very advanced, use master properties for the position of that controller.
That is true.
Now that is a workflow we have not yet experimented with, because master properties, which we covered yesterday, are pretty new. It's a way that you can use the essential graphics panel to affect components of a composition from outside of it. Like it adds whole new properties to mess with, and you could use the position of these things and rotation in that context. Which would be very interesting.
That would be,
I'm
yeah.
to make a note and try that later
I might
today.
have to get a crack on that. So yeah, you can duplicate the parts that you were using, but I needed to go in and clear out all those expressions and make a new controller, and then I got it to work. Definitely you can pre-comp it. I think I've done that before, but just it depends on where you want your controllers to live. Usually I'll just put them all at the top of this one comp, and that way you can just boom, boom, boom. Got everything in there. Do we want to... I kind of like to switch over to show some of the puppet pin stuff.
Let's do.
And then maybe we can add it onto the tail and see like what we can get going.
Right, because with that ribbon or non-ribbon, like, because a tail would have both properties, right? Hair has both firmness and floopiness,
The two central.
I'm a hair expert. I don't know if you know, you can
Got
tell.
a lot of it.
Well, I'm a wig expert, so.
I do have a wig, actually. I bought one in New Orleans a few months ago. So
Okay, well.
I'm like more of an amateur.
Oh, an
But
amateur wigist.
It's happening.
Well.
So, I set this guy up too, and I just animated. I put 5 puppet pins on him, and I just have some little animations going, and I just want to show you the 3 central motions that a giraffe does.
The thing that a giraffe. Ugh.
You know, if you see them in the wild and they're like, this means he's happy. This is like, he's going to fight. You know, you just have to read.
Yeah.
You kind of have to read the
subtle
body
cues.
language of the giraffe.
Right.
So,
and we're making use of, again, we've got these controllers, right? These nulls that you've put out.
Yes.
Controllers are key.
controllers are very important if you really want to get the full range of. Boop. And then the head is parented to that, and I can rotate him around so he can kind of navigate his floopy world. So if we go on to the neck layer, it's in a pre-comp. That just keeps things from getting weird.
Right, and you've got like the pattern on the neck there that should deform with the rest of the neck, right?
And so here's one thing too. I would do this with rubber hose because you could get really clean curves on it, but there's no way, as far as I am aware, nobody correct me if I'm wrong about this. But
you're an expert. Who would dare do that?
And there might be, again, I don't use there's a puppet pin aspect to rubber hose that I haven't really delved into. But, you know, I want the spots on him to deform with the neck. And I want that to look kind of, you know, like he's actually got those like on his fur.
Joshua says the dragon giraffe is very cute. You're right.
Thank you, I did. I have a full dragon-esque version of this. But I just only maintained the neck zone.
What's the correct portmanteau of dragon and giraffe? Let us know in the chat.
Ooh, I do want to know that.
A
giraffe. That's not good though. That's
a giragan?
A giragan.
Giragan.
It's
or a giragan.
It's giragan, guys.
Now that's something you can debate. Those grammar and syntaxes.
Here they come. Here it comes.
Yeah. Oh, Jackie.
Jackie's on it.
Jackie's gotcha.
No.
Bringing it right back. But yeah, this.
So I got my puppet on here, and I came up here, I grabbed my puppet pin tool, and you can see the mesh now that I'm like hanging over it, and I just dropped off. It's a little hard to see, but here, this like tiny yellow circle.
Yellow pins on yellow giraffe.
There it is. Yeah, didn't think that one through, but we got our pins on here, and then I've parented the position of those pins to these null controls, and that's just so I can animate this really simply. I don't need to worry about twirling down and grabbing the pins, and you can kind of get a little weird with it. Having a good time. So that's one action that you can do.
And something else we'll say, if you're enjoying learning about characters and stuff, after us are some real experts in the Adobe Character Animator, a program dedicated to character and envisioning character in a unique way, in a very puppety way, in a way that allows you to take like live footage and animate based on how someone's face is moving, and the real experts in their craft for really exploiting that program to its fullest
you can
ability.
do a lot of cool stuff with character. I personally haven't even, but like people are doing TV stuff with it, like live animation.
Live TV.
Super cool. Live on television.
Live.
Remember that?
We're doing it live.
That used to be a thing.
But yeah, because here in After Effects, we have these tools to work with, which are pretty great. The deformity of the puppet pins, we got a lot of flexibility. The Character Animator has a certain subset of things, like it's great at speed, and here we have a lot of control of the different things we want to do. So, and mixing things together if you want. But yeah, so
I want to show just a couple controls that you have. So expansion and density are two things that you can kind of, it gives you this triangle mesh. That's kind of what the puppet pin tool does.
Right.
You can see it here.
When you drop the pins, it makes this mesh, and that's like triangles that correspond to the pixels kind of thing.
Right.
And
And you're pulling, you can see how that is deforming this artwork. And so the density option, that plays with how many triangles you get. If I crank this all the way down, you see we get like a little jagged with it, which I can see that you could do some really cool stuff with this if you're doing a really stylized animation.
Very like polygonal.
Yeah, if I was doing kind of a weird snake, something like that, and all the rest of my graphics are very sharp, you could use this to do some pretty natural looking stuff in that world. And then obviously you can crank it way up and you can get back to your smooth mesh. And expansion, that will open up the mesh or will like shrink it down close to your artwork. So again, if I like drag it way down, it will just break and ruin it.
Because you need a certain amount of it on there.
Yeah, so we'll dial it in. Now it's like, it's really close, or...
And Paul Van Summern, he's doing his submission. We got 9 minutes to go to get those challenge submissions in.
Awesome.
Go to behance.net/live, go to the challenge tab, download the template. You've still got time. Don't render it off in full HD, you know. Just render it off, you know, as large as it needs to be to get to us.
I'm seeing some fun stuff on here.
We are seeing some cool stuff.
Oh, I'm into it.
Lots of them. What do you, 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. 9 entries so far. Get them in. Get those
This is
entries
awesome.
in.
Yeah, you got 8 minutes, 45 seconds. Go.
Oh, and then we got to Jan Erik Evartsen. There's a lot of Dutchies in here, right? It's, it's good. It's good.
Sweet.
Oh yeah, people are getting their submissions in. So yeah, we got 8.5 minutes.
One more thing I want to show you on this, which is really cool, is you can play with this mesh rotation refinement.
And that's the new thing.
It's a new powerful feature. We have it cranked all the way up maximum. I don't think it can go, any higher than that. So this is a very smooth look, and this kind of, I feel like it's easier to show than tell. So I'm gonna just dial this all the way down. Boop, boop, boop.
Dialing, dialing, dialing.
Do you see, it flattens it out kind of, and it becomes more ribbon-like, and it gives you a little bit more to show you like kind of how it looks in space. And it doesn't really have as much dimensionality anymore. That's a fun one, and I'm gonna...
Yeah, that one's maybe the most extreme example, right?
Yeah, you can see it becomes very ribbony, and now if you want to do a ribbon-like animation, the puppet pin tool might be exactly what you're looking for to get kind of like a flaggy, ribbony, like a paper look,
right?
Almost.
As if this thing were made of 2-dimensional paper and then we're deforming it by moving it around, as opposed to bending it.
Yeah, I actually feel like this looks really kind of cool with the cartoony style of this boy. I'd want to probably adjust maybe his head placement, some stuff like that. And then again, if we crank it back up, it becomes a little more like you could believe that this is, you know, like a cylinder.
Yeah, and so Niladri is asking, you animate and illustrate yourself, but if another illustrator working on was interesting on the project, if there's more push on the laptop. And if there was another illustrator, what would the workflow be to make that happen?
I haven't actually worked on, I almost rarely, maybe a couple times worked with another illustrator a lot of the time. That's just kind of how I'm used to kind of one-man banding it a little bit. But there are a couple things, and what you would want to do really is have the illustrator, there's a lot of prep that can go into, like you're probably going to want them to label all of their stuff. You're going to want it to be on layers in a certain way. I've gotten artwork before where it's all on like sub layers in Illustrator, and that's hard to work with to get out of Illustrator into After Effects in a way that you want. Clipping, like don't use clipping masks in Illustrator. It's very tempting when you're illustrating, but it doesn't play nicely with After Effects. You want to avoid having you as the After Effects person having to go into those files and kind of rebuild them in a way. Sometimes that's inevitable.
Right, and it's interesting, when people talk about workflow, they're often talking about machine to machine, right? But ultimately, workflow is about humans working with other humans, generally, or humans solving very human-related problems. In the case of working with another illustrator, it's about having a discussion and making sure you're both on the same page about how do I expect to get a thing, how are you comfortable delivering a thing, and for me, I usually end up getting Illustrator's files that are maybe it's all on one layer,
messy,
a little bit messy, well, because they need to be expedient as well. Like Illustrator they have speed demands. They got to get stuff out. Sometimes things are spread across many artboards, or it's all over the place. And just have that discussion about, hey, here's what I would love to receive from you if you can do that. But on the other hand, sometimes it's a couple extra billable hours because you're going to have to carve into that stuff. You're going to have to go in and separate out the things into the layers as you anticipate them. And the big thing is saying, when I look at this illustration, which parts reasonably have to move, which remain static.
Right.
Last time I was down here, we were talking about animating hands, and to say like, well, what is everything the hand's going to do, right? The hand is made of so many bones. We're looking at the bones of the horse, right? Was that 8 bones for a leg? And then when it gets down to the hoof, there's a bunch more. Human hand has too many bones in it. Too many.
Yeah, a little one too many, actually. Who do we talk to about that?
We'll just go down to the local hospital and get some of them removed.
Can you?
Yeah. But if you think about it, like, you got all these metatarsals in here, and if are those reasonably going to be moving in the motion you're going to have the hand do? You know, when we look at this horse, is its spine going to be moving? Like, is that going to be flexing a lot? How deep are you going to go into the character's movement? You kind of choose, you know, where things go, what level of fidelity are we going to do, and work with that. Because really, if only 2 fingers are going to move on the hand, well, those are all the parts you need. Those are the parts. The rest of the hand is one thing, and then in this case, these are just 2 pinchy fingers. But yeah, people are saying they got their submissions in, which is
Awesome.
great. 3 minutes 30 to go. Let me
3 minutes waiting on those last
I
ones.
hit the old refresh. A couple more have come in
Very
since I
cool.
looked at it. Keep getting them in,
I'm
guys.
pumped to see these.
Me too. I love we were talking about working within constraints. Like, these constraints, it's pretty minimal. You got a hoop, you got a ball. What do you do? What's in between? Well, what's in between is...
What your heart says.
That's right.
It's whatever your heart says. And those are, challenges like that are fun. I haven't even had the chance really to participate in a lot where there's a lot of like assets already and everything. And that is, then you just get to like play with the animation. You don't have to worry about building everything out. So now I have just been, whoa, that ain't right. We'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
But I've puppet tooled
Right.
our horse tail, and it kind of looks pretty nice. Like you can just get a little bit of
It's
extra
bending.
motion that I didn't have on the previous one, where all I was rotating or all I was animating was the rotation. Mm-hmm. Let me.
Because now you could even have like a wave of motion go through it, as happens with hair. Long,
Yeah, it's
beautiful hair.
Especially on a beautiful horse.
Majestic.
We'll have this kind of, it's rotating.
And yeah, Tim is saying if you miss the deadline for your submission, which is 2 minutes away, people, Isaac and Dusty are coming up next. They're gonna character animate some stuff, and I'm sure they would have some things to say about how you've chosen to get your ball into the hoop. So it's
Getting
good.
weird with it.
However, get them in for us so we can judge them. You know.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're ready to judge.
Ready to go.
We're getting pumped for judging.
As you know. So you can see it's a little, it's a lot going on. Mm-hmm. Maybe we animate that ribbon situation.
Go ribbon
just
style
see-
instead of tube style.
You want to do that. 6. Crank it all the way up.
Oh, look at that.
Now, can I loop this?
That's a good question. Not all properties can be looped.
We will see.
Looks like it can, though.
It's looking pretty good, and I kind of wonder, maybe we like drag this out and just see.
Oh no, Tim says he'll judge us. What? No turnaround on
No,
that.
I'm ready. It's only fair. I want to keep this a two-way street. This is a good community, and we need to, you know, I'm not going to be up on my IORs. Come on, Evan. Don't leave me hanging out here.
Nope. I'm the host that lets you dangle.
It's true.
Left you hanging on a few yesterday. Today will be no different.
Like, it's all good. And so, I don't have any, I'm not even animating any of the control nulls. I wonder if I just throw on some, like, not on that one, but on these, maybe I'll, like, throw on a little bit of, like, wiggle.
Right, just so they're kind of
Just
fluttering
to-
around. And yeah, Joshua was asking, is there a third stream tomorrow? That's right, we're back tomorrow. So we're going to be talking to you tomorrow. We're going to be animating some more things.
Yeah.
Who knows what it'll be? It's a mystery.
Will it be a horse?
Will it?
How do you guys feel about that?
Exactly.
Let us know. It's
Y'all-
live.
Y'all let us know. But I think tomorrow we're also going to be talking about a bit more workflow-related stuff. So if you have questions about workflow, you bring them
Crank it up.
tomorrow. You bring that stuff.
Yeah, we'll be here.
Yeah. Doling out
You
the
be
wisdom.
here.
You be here, we'll be here.
Everyone's
and
going to be here.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can get really fun with this.
Sproing.
And also, I think the artwork, I might have made it slightly different
Right, or had multiple instances of the
to
tail.
begin with, but you can still see, like, it's like a lot more rubbery and bouncy than
Mm-hmm.
it was before. If we jump back to, actually, if we just put the original tail
Get that OG tail
back
back
on,
in.
it's like boring.
Snooze.
That's not how a tail do.
Come on.
Then we come over here and, tail 2.0.
Yeah. I love that you can keep it playing while you turn layers on and off. Like that's one of the
Right.
It's one of the features that I think when it came out, people weren't like, whoa, dang. But that is something that for me is like, oh yeah, I can just set this up, I can have it loop. And
Yeah.
I can doop, doop,
You don't have to
doop.
worry about it.
It's so good. But I have a beast of a machine at home. So
And I do not.
But guys,
It's going.
we've talked with you while the time ran down on your submissions. We are past the point of no return on challenges. So if you didn't get them in, that's cool. We'll have a peruse of them. We're here tomorrow for a whole new challenge, and the guys from Zookeeper are here, the character animating geniuses. So they'll be here to judge you after. So,
So get ready for that.
but in a friendly way, in a nice way, the way a kind and judicious parent would
A
judge.
loving way.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, Nathan's saying that wiggle expression helped out a lot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Just a little random motion kind of makes it happen. Sorry, a little Gaussian motion.
Gaussian.
Gaussian?
Is it Gaussian?
Let us know in the comments. At us as hard as you can. Those things. So Devin Ward is asking why his link isn't working for the upload, but not sure. But keep trying because people will.
Keep getting it in
stuff.
there.
So let me scroll down the list here. We should begin our judgment. So there is a lot to go through.
Oh, wow. This is awesome.
So here we go. Starting at the beginning, the true beginning this time.
Placeholder.
Yeah, after the placeholder. So this is so the challenge was, just to remind you guys who don't know, you got a ball, you got a hoop, put the ball through the hoop. What's in between is up to you. Add things, and we'll see how it goes down. Yeah, and
Crank it.
function.
Just hit the.
There it is.
There, yeah.
Yeah, volume up, volume up. All right, and here we go. We're away at the races. Here we go.
Got squashing and stretching.
That's right. And then next.
Nice.
Ooh, I want to zoom. Yep. Going to where the action is.
I felt it. The crowd.
Gets you fired up.
Like, oh, yeah.
Oh
no.
I like where this is going. Denis McConnell.
Nice.
Probably Dennis.
Sometimes I've seen that happen in real life, and
like
it is
a-
crazy.
It's like a vengeful ghost throwing the ball there.
Full ghost. It's got some unfinished basketball business to attend to.
Well, that's how I'm going to go out. My unfinished basketball business. It's from Jack. Okay.
That feels right. That felt really satisfying
That feels
to
so-
see play out.
That feels so memey, right?
You told a story.
I feel like if Doge popped
That's
up.
like, if you're not good at basketball the normal way, do it the weird way.
Yep.
No one's going to see that coming. Kind of Space Jam it.
Yep. It's your chance. Do your dance.
Do your dance, sir.
At the Space Jam. All right. Joseph. Oh, a little 3D
Ooh.
action.
A little spiral right in.
That was fast. Let's see that
That was a
again.
three-pointer. Very good.
Nice. And also let us know. We're talking basketball here. If you got a favorite team, let us know. If it's not the Golden State Warriors, don't let us know.
If you guys know how it works,
If it's the
feel
Cavs,
free to let me
If it's
know.
anybody but the Cavs, Gus will delete your comments.
is there any Thunder fans?
Sorry. Oh, we got a little color change.
Nice.
I believe this is our winner from yesterday, actually.
Yeah, I'm on board.
Oh, boing, boing, boing.
Is it gonna? Oh,
Oh, and it loops.
oh, nice.
Ding, 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 ding.
Love that gold ball.
Golden ball.
Ball.
Brilliant. What else we got going down here? Oh.
I didn't see that coming. Oh, but we finally got it.
See, rule of threes in comedy.
No, I'm just really grateful that that does not happen, actually. If you had to worry about the hoop kind of like juking out of the way at the last
Yeah.
minute, basketball would be a different game. OKC, I saw that, Rodrigo. Thank you.
Do You remember a little sport called slam ball?
I don't.
What? This was Spike TV's attempt to reinvent basketball?
No, I didn't
With
see that.
trampolines.
Sounds pretty cool.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, nice.
There's a little extra element added in, eh?
It's kind of like oh my God, what's that basketball car game that's really popular now? I sound so old. You know.
Basketball card game.
It's like soccer, actually. I'm like
You're
totally.
thinking of Rocket League, right?
Yes.
That's
you
that's
know,
soccer.
basketball.
When you put the balls in the basket.
It's the same.
Sorry.
It's the same thing. Sports are all the same. I apologize.
Gotta go!
I do apologize.
This one's from Paul. A little Rube Goldberg
Ooh,
action.
nice.
Foot. See, this is where I would say some sound effects would have helped us out.
Yeah,
you know?
that would have been.
That's the spot you want them. To Rodrigo.
Where did it even come from?
I know.
Somebody's up there.
They call that the skyhook.
Nice.
Ah, this is Paul Van Summeren. He's added a floor.
Oh, you do need those in basketball,
Yep.
typically. Oh. Oh no.
It's a disaster. Hey!
And it still goes in. I love these aspirational ones.
Well-
You're like, I'm still gonna get it.
I like that with two elements. There's a high amount of comedy that's coming out between these things, right? Oh.
Ooh. Nothing but net.
Oh, I thought it said nothing but net.
Buttnet. You
Buttnet.
know, that's buttnet.com.
Nothing but net.
It's really a Michael Scott quote. I can't take full credit
Yes,
for that.
yeah.
Nothing but net. Ba-da-da.
All right, so that's all of our entries. Do you want to peruse them again, or you feel? I feel there was a lot of them, so we should probably
Yeah, you might want to
take them one more time.
take a little trip.
Take one more time from the top. Oh, and our next guests have rolled in here.
Like, and that's it. We're going. No winner. No announcement.
All right, so let's again starting from the beginning, running them through one more time. The squash and stretch.
I love that. Yeah, a lot of opportunity for. That one just feels good.
Mm. it's that little like whoop.
You just. I like to
Charge up.
wind it up first and then ba-bam.
Yeah, like the ghost was thinking about it, and he did it anyway. Jack with his very modern sensibilities.
That one. Yeah, I'm very taken with the kind of the rainbow effect.
Just a little
and,
bye down in the corner.
You know, however you get the ball in there, it does. There's no rules for that.
No rules, just right.
It's just nothing but net. It's nice smooth motion on that one.
Yeah.
I think there's some motion blur on there.
Mm-hmm. Ding, 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 ding.
It's good. I love those swoosh lines.
Yeah. The speed lines.
Speed line,
That's how
you know.
it's going fast.
The technical term.
It's the speed holes. Oh.
That's a good one. I
Oh.
just, in your heart, it's like, where's it going?
Yeah, it really plays.
Is it going in?
You're on a roller coaster.
Oh, I just
an
need those 2
adventure.
points.
It's got an arc. Just out of curiosity, which shots get you 2 points in basketball?
All of them, right? I don't know.
We've mentioned a 3-point shot.
There's a 3.1.
Yeah. It's
I
probably
don't know
some-
if you can get just 1 point. Oh, field goal.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you kick it in.
When you put it through the uprights. That's the entry from Sasso again with the.
Love basketball so much.
We know basketball. I know these sports.
I like that. That was a creative way to get it in there.
Yeah.
MoGraph type way.
Yeah, very on point. Nonsensical, two-dimensional Rube Goldberg. Whoosh, skyhook from Rodrigo. The addition of a floor.
Gotta throw on a floor.
Something about
This is just how I play
the
basketball.
not enough energy shot.
You're like, maybe, I guess.
I'm having flashbacks to gym class, guys. Why did it have to be sports? And yeah.
Love
So, big
it. This
question.
is impossible. So I abdicate. No, I'm
Oh,
just
yeah?
kidding. There's some really good ones. What do you think? What are you feeling?
For me, I gotta. Where was it? It was. So I scroll.
I think that one, this one really,
This one really does it for me.
my heart was like along for the ride.
Yeah, like.
There were some amazing ones in here. Shout out to Jack Jobat, whoever that is,
Yeah.
for that really amazing entry. This one took me on a ride.
Yeah, I'd give it to this one.
I think
myself.
that one.
Yeah. So that is Shikar Srivastava? So Shikar, people be in touch. You are the winner. And thank you so much.
Nothing but net, as they say.
That's right. And yeah, thank you everyone who submitted for sending in your stuff.
Yeah, thank you. That was very difficult. There was some really good stuff in there.
Yeah, just the amount of creativity. You got these two things, and you're making something awesome
And
out of it.
how much you can do.
So, congratulations, and this is our winner, and the team here will be in touch with how to get you that sweet, sweet prize. 1 year of Creative Cloud. If you did not get your submissions in, we got folks coming up who will have a look at those in the next couple hours. We're still here for about 15 minutes, though. So, is there more horse things we could do? If you have questions...
There's always horse things.
Something I will say, we're back again tomorrow as well. So we're going to be back at 11 tomorrow. So we're going to be looking at more workflow things, animating more stuff in After Effects. It's going to be great. But yeah, if you have questions for us while we're here, ask us now.
And I want to say, Rachel, don't stop trying. Yours was awesome. That was a very tough choice.
Yeah.
But yeah, just seeing how people adding stuff, like the different, changing the colors, like making it their own, like that's all really cool. Some of it I think I would have thought to do. So
Absolutely.
these challenges are really fun. This one, that was a tough one.
Yeah, and it's, you just got to keep coming out every day, doing more cool stuff. And it's hard to judge, It's hard to judge. It's a tough job being us.
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Thanks, Wayne.
That's Michael Scott.
That's a
Quoting Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, that's right. Quoting famous Canadian.
Quoting the superior sport. The only sport that I actually know really anything about is hockey, so.
That's what we want to hear.
I know how scoring works in a hockey.
What's your hockey team then?
Well, actually, may it rest in peace, but Oklahoma City had an AHL team for a few years. We had the Blazers.
Right.
And then we had the Barons, and they were fantastic, but not enough hockey fans in Oklahoma. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
For those of you watching.
That's right. Get it together.
Yeah. Really miss the Barons.
That's right. And for all the people in Ottawa, the city where I live in, go Habs go. What do we want to do with the 10 minutes we got left here? Should we make those ears do something floopy? Should we do more horse things?
That's true. Is there anything y'all want to see?
What other nuances does the horse require?
And this is unrelated, but I can show you really quickly how I did the logo for this because it was pretty simple.
Yeah, we breezed past
Let
the
me
logo
just-
off the jump.
The dressage, eleganza.
Is that another dressage step? I mean,
Yes, no, it's not. So I made this, I was just trying to bang this out super quickly. I literally took my horse pieces here. I was like neck, head, ears, grab those in here. And I just converted them to strokes. I'm gonna turn that off.
Lauren would like some red wings on the horse. That's a tall order. But
Red wings.
oh no, she doesn't want red wings on the horse. She wants. She
I was like, I can put some red wings on here, but I don't know that that's...
I totally forgot there was a delay on the chat. Thought that was very topical.
I will play the animation again really quickly. I'm gonna...
That's right, Dana.
Just a random fun tip that I like in Illustrator is the line width tool, where you can be like, what? With strokes, you can get really fun with this and get kind of like a more calligraphic look.
Calligraphic? We're having some trouble with our pronouncing
With
today.
our talking and our words. So if you have, just a stroke, like I can start out with boop boop. And then if you hit Shift W, you can just start pulling on it and kind of get weird. And
Now,
it's pretty cool.
Now, when you bring that stroke into After Effects, though, what happens with it?
So, if I just overlord this into After Effects, it does not retain that information. So what I ended up doing, for those eagle-eyed viewers, I copy-pasted it and I just expanded these. So when it was a stroke, I went down to path, outline, stroke, and now I have...
Oh, JC, we were on top of your question. The width tool
We
does
got it.
not.
It does not transfer over, and that is a bummer. What is cool about this, though, is so I imported these fills.
Okay.
And that's these blue layers are now, they're just a fill. But then I also went back and I imported all of the strokes too. And then I animated the stroke so like as a kind of a mask, just using trim paths, my After Effects best friend. You can do a lot with trim paths. So it's just drawing, yeah, so you can see it. It's just drawing a line on.
Right.
And using these like alpha mats. If I, oop, nope.
Very alpha mats.
So alpha. No beta mats in here.
Those mats were negging me all day when I got in here.
You gotta work on your mat game.
They gotta work
and
on
then
their
that's all there is to that. Dana wanted to see.
Yeah, show the whole cycle again.
Here I will.
We'll RAM preview that.
It's so strong.
Oh.
I call this one. Oh man, we had a horse. One of our horses was a white horse. He's an Arabian, and his show name was Dalim's Secret Agent. I have no idea what that means or why, but because we did not show him.
Horse names are great.
Called him. My dad named him Gandalf.
Okay.
So it should have been Shadowfax, right? Like Shadowfax is the white Lord of the Rings horse, but like Gandalf, whatever.
Well, Shadowfax is not a horse. I don't want to.
Shadowfax is indeed. He's the lord of all horses, sir.
Yeah, I don't want to pedant all over the place. You know.
It's Shadowfax. I've seen that movie.
Right.
I've never read the books.
But he's like, well.
But I've seen the movie
okay.
a lot.
Then I will spare you my pedantry.
We'll talk about it afterwards.
We'll take this discussion.
If anybody has any
offline.
Lord of the Rings related questions, films only.
Yeah, films only.
Hit the chat.
Don't tell us about Shadowfax.
Maybe do though. I don't know.
No Betamax.
Is there anything else? Any questions?
Yeah. Someone was.
I'm ready.
Someone was repping the Blue Jackets recently on the chat, so it's okay.
It's okay. That's fine. So I saw a lot of Capitals games. I grew up in
Oh yeah.
in DC, the DC area,
Washington
as
zone.
a youth.
Good. That's,
Oh,
pedantry.
pedantry.
Pedantry. But yeah, like I just love like the movement of the horse, that little pause that it makes, because it's very realistic, but it's still understandable. Because sometimes hyper-realistic motion doesn't translate well to animation, right? If it was like rotoscoped, that might not be as understandable visually. So we have the representation of a horse, the representation of dressage.
The idea of a horse.
That's right.
The concept of a horse. So just to show you like some keyframes that are on here, some of them are very simple. I will say, this is a little bit, these are just copy pasted and then I dragged a bunch of keyframes back in the timeline so that it would loop correctly. So really, just look at these ones with a full, I animated out 24 frames. And there's not that many keyframes on here. A lot of it was kind of like massaging the motion path with like the Bezier handles. Bezier handles.
We got a question from Joseph who asks, "You bill by the project or by the hour?" You're in house at the Atlantic. So
I am full time. Yes.
You rock a salary position. Right?
I got that money. So sometimes
living the dream.
I do freelance projects. I don't do as much as I used to. It just depends on what I have time for, and since I've had like arm issues. You gotta watch out for working too hard because it's really easy to do it. I actually, both. If it's a longer term project, I usually do a flat rate. I've been working with a really fantastic branding studio in Oklahoma City, Ghost, and I'm just doing some logo animations for them or like video, like lower thirds and stuff like that. And they're pretty fast turnaround, so I bill by the hour for those. It can depend on what you're doing.
Yeah, and like some clients, like if you're working direct with, let's say there's like a company that wants an explainer video, sometimes it's hard to communicate about hours because they have no frame of reference, right? You'd say like, well, I'll bill you this much per hour, it'll take this many hours, right? Well, they use power of multiplication and they get a flat number anyway, right? And it just depends on whether you want an open-ended contract or not. Is it to be? Are we going to go on a fishing expedition and pay for gas? How many hours are you willing to commit to this? And usually, someone has a budget in mind, so it's worth kind of having that open discussion. Like, it's going to take this many hours. I bill it this much an hour. At the end of the day, it's this. We project this number will be the number.
Exactly. And well, like for me, if I'm working full time, I can't devote, like I'm not gonna do a day rate because I'm not working like an 8 or a 10-hour day on a project necessarily. And so I'm always upfront about that. You know, I'm like, I have a full-time job. I'm working like at these times.
Yeah.
What's your budget? What's your deadline? And we'll figure it out from there. What's possible? You basically make it a conversation.
Yeah. And Caitlin, do you use Motion V2 from Mount
You know,
Mograph?
I don't.
Asks Nathan.
I've never used Motion. I've had a lot of people recommend it to me, and it sounds awesome. A lot of people use it all the time. I have been meaning to check it out actually, because as you can see, I'm all about the like plugins and scripts. I use a lot to speed up your workflow, so that's one I still need to check out.
Caitlin Cadieux, plugin queen.
It's true. Yeah, let the machine do the work for me.
Hey, it's a machine.
Yeah.
Machine knows
It's
what-
tools, yeah. Sometimes there are some really great workflow keyframe tools.
Yeah, you roll up into some people's garage and they got like 3 kinds
You
of drills.
just take all their tools.
Yeah,
you
it's
know,
all the
in case you-
tools. But Dana says thanks, and we thank you for being
Thank
with us,
you,
Dana.
yeah, thanks so much.
You guys coming out into the chat makes it all good. So you gotta, have the back and forth with you guys. That's what we like. We want you guys to be involved. A lot of great submissions. We love those. And yeah, any more quandaries while we're here? We got time. And speaking of plugins, we talked about some of them yesterday, but you have Flow on here. That's
I
something
do.
you use. Like, what are your, top 3 plugins that you're rocking right now?
Oh man, top 3.
That's right. You're on a desert island. You only take 3 plugins with you.
Flow, I will say, if you want to start getting into the graph editor, get you some Flow. It's like you just play with curves right in here, and then it's so easy. You grab your animation and you just like, oh no, here I messed that up. But I'm gonna open up a new thing just to like show you a real quick example of it. I'm like a mess right now. Okay. Make this like a normal size.
Why did we have so many coffees? Losing it.
We're freaking. So if I like position, that's way too much.
Top 10. Oh man,
Whoop.
that's so many.
Position keyframes. So you can stick on like your standard type ease. Now it's got like a baby ease on it. Or you can super quickly, I'm gonna like really crank it. And you just slap it right on there. And honestly, it makes it so easy. If you just want to add some quick spice, you can also save. I don't have my like standard library that I have of all my like typical curves. I don't have it saved on this computer right now because I work on my iMac at home a lot. But you can also, I don't want to be overshooting it. And you can just, it makes it so easy to play with the motion, and you can just have this visual reference. And I mean, then you can go in if you have like a bunch of keyframes. Obviously, you got these 2 here. You can stick it on everything, or then you can go in and start like refining if you want it to be.
And I think for a lot of people, they find sometimes the graph editor is intimidating or what have you. And
Right.
I personally, because I grew up opening the graph editor all the time. That's my home.
grew up
That's
doing
where,
it.
Yeah, back
In your childhood,
baby
you were like,
Evan making the graph editor.
I want to get in there and check it out.
I live in that space. I love seeing the things, and that's how I respond to things visually. Is say, well, yeah, that's what the motion looks like. This is a graph that shows speed over time or value over time. Just makes sense, right? But Flow is a great way to just bop, 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 like go through
It
things
just makes
that
it,
work.
yeah, it's faster, and especially like with our turnarounds, and probably your turnarounds. I mean, we talked about how there's never enough time.
No one has enough time ever. Everything needs to be faster all the time.
Yeah.
That's life.
I just want to shout it out again too. You can save your pre-made curves in here again. Like all of mine are like on my home.
Yeah, and you can download
Machine,
like
but-
libraries of other people's curves,
Exactly.
too.
People have those posted, so you can get this on AE scripts. It's super worth it. Again, I shouted out Rift, which I don't have open here, but
Bill would like to know about the power of your Mac. Would you to share the stats
that's private.
of this thing?
Private information. So I'm rocking a 2015.
And we got 30 seconds left here. So, Caitlin, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been
Thank you.
It's been a slice. Well, you're welcome. And thank you, everybody out there. Thanks for coming out. We're going to be back tomorrow. We're going to be back tomorrow, 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock Pacific time. We'll be back animating more things in After Effects. And also, coming up next, let's learn about the character animator for some true experts, gods of their craft, creators of characters. And yeah, you're gonna love it. If you like seeing this horse, you're gonna love what happens next. Thank you so much.